Welcome back to Speak Up Queen, the podcast where we empower, uplift, and celebrate women who have reclaimed their voices to inspire others. Today we are thrilled to welcome the inspiring Jenna K to the show. Jenna is a family studies student and public speaker for Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. A passionate advocate, community volunteer, and leader within Girl Guides of Canada. Jenna has turned her journey with chronic illness and childhood trauma into a testament of resilience and self-love. As a disabled queen and mental health warrior, Jenna uses her voice to empower others and foster meaningful connections through advocacy, kindness, and courage. Recently crowned Back to School Royalty 2024, she continues to inspire those around her with her strength and determination. So without further ado, let's welcome Jenna K to Speak Up Queen.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Jenna, what was the most challenging limiting belief you had to overcome, and how did breaking free from it help you reclaim your voice?
I think one of the biggest challenges for me was I really struggled with learning through elementary and junior high. And I also was diagnosed with a chronic illness at 11, which is such a crucial time to feel like you want to fit in and you want to be the best. I feel like, especially for girls, like girls can be quite mean at that age of trying to find your place as you're changing from a girl into a woman can be really hard. And having all of that going on was definitely really challenging. And then even just academically, struggling at elementary and junior high and high school and not knowing why. Like I kind of was always just passed by in the public school system, but no one ever will put into thought about why I was struggling. And when I was in grade 11, I kind of already knew in my own brain that I had something going on that wasn't normal from like getting to know my peers and my own self-awareness. And my English teacher noticed that I was struggling with the learning that I was doing. So she decided to let my mom know. We decided to go to a psychologist to get diagnosed. And that was really, it seems odd, but getting that diagnosis was kind of empowering for me because now I'm finally able to have a label for the things that I'm struggling with. The labels obviously don't matter in the grand scheme of the world, but within the educational system, having a label can be helpful to access all those amazing resources that I need. So that was super big time in my life. And I really think just finding my voice and finding the courage to not care about talking about my illnesses and my life story, I think was a lot of simply just letting go of that shame and not caring because there's a lot about me that's not the picture perfect normal that people want to see, and that's totally okay. And that makes me unique. So I kind of just started to accept that and let go of all of the shame. And I don't really care about what other people think anymore, which was a huge thing that really helped me step outside my comfort zone and be comfortable with getting into storytelling and sharing my raw, authentic me with the world.
Thank you for sharing that. It's incredible how much strength it takes to challenge those deeply ingrained beliefs. I'm sure so many listening can relate to the courage it takes to break free from limiting beliefs. Can you share a moment when someone's words or actions made you feel small and how you found the strength to rise above it?
Well, a lot of my life, I have family members that I am no longer in communication with that um, really did everything they could when I was growing up to make me feel small or like I couldn't do what I wanted to do, as well as I was a victim of childhood bullying, which was really a massive struggle. But I know it's something that so many people around the world can really relate to. There's so much bullying happening, especially among young kids and teenagers. And I did not get to escape that reality, unfortunately, being someone that came across as different. But a big piece of what I've gone through has been those family members that didn't see the light of me and made me feel invisible a lot of my life. And now we don't communicate. And people that are supposed to love you unconditionally not being there is really challenging for someone. And as I've grown up, I really noticed that like they were the adults, I was the child, like that what how they were treating me was not okay. And I don't need to accept that. And I don't need to accept that from anybody. But when you're a child and you're taught that whatever adults say is the right thing, like that can be a really hard narrative to really even learn about in your own self of if what they're saying is true or not. That can be really, really difficult to navigate. But now, as I've gotten older, it's really been about as long as I'm happy with the person that I am, which I'm working on every single day, there's nothing, it doesn't matter what other people think of me, even if it's blood related or not. And there is a lot of power in having a chosen family and people that I chose in life that make me feel like a great person. And also just learning that you are, at the end of the day, the main character in your own life. And things can get really, really, really bad and really annoying. But you have the power to dictate where you go. Of course, outside influences, whether that's your family or friends, which sometimes they're well meaning. At the end of the day, no one's forcing you to go with their advice, and you can dictate how you want to go. And you like everything will align eventually. And like your heart's telling you what is gonna drive you into a purposeful life. So be the main character and do what you want to do for you. I think that's such a huge thing that I've learned over the course of my life that you just need to do what you want because you're never going to be happy living someone else's life.
Well, what an inspiring way to turn something painful into a moment of growth. It's just a reminder that our resilience is often found in those difficult moments. What safety resources, spaces, or tools have been most impactful for your healing journey?
For me, I think learning disability wise, I think it's been a massive struggle to find a lot of resources available because I was diagnosed in grade 11 and I graduated a year later. So I kind of missed out on those connection opportunities when I was younger, which I think would have been insanely helpful. But when being diagnosed with my chronic illness, I got to go to an amazing camp run by the Arthritis Society in my province. And that camp, I got to meet best friends, and they really were the people that lifted me up and helped me as well. I've been a part of, I have a chronic pain condition called fibromyalgia, and I've been able to really push through that. And I joined a community online where I was able to meet a really great friend of mine who is one of my constants in my life, which has been super helpful, as well as just so many chronic illness resources have just been so impactful for me. And also just having those things in my school. Like I was a proud member of the Nova Scotia Secondary Student Association for a very long time. I'm now involved with an incredible leadership organization called Motivate Canada, which has really helped me become my best self, as well as just joining in on youth conferences and those types of spaces. I think makes me feel truly sparkly and alive. And I'm so grateful to have those opportunities to connect and network and just meet people that make me feel good about myself.
I love hearing about the tools and resources that have helped you. It is so important for others to know that they don't have to walk this path alone, because there's support everywhere. What
It's so true.
What was the first step you took to move from feeling silence to finding your voice? And did that step change your life?
Yeah, for sure. So, when I was in grade 9, I had been going through quite a few hospital admissions in that particular year. And I was at the hospital, and a child life specialist came up to me and knew that I kind of had I wanted to volunteer, and that was something that really interested me. But I had been spending a substantial amount of time in the hospital and in appointments, and rough. And she recommended the IWK Youth Advisory Council to me. And I decided to apply for that, and I ended up getting accepted. And that decision absolutely did change my life because that was my first avenue that I got welcomed into public speaking spaces. I got welcomed into chronic illness advocacy spaces and disability advocacy spaces. And I have been a part of those spaces now for almost 6 years, and I've really grown my impact. And is my absolute favorite to do in the world is advocate for change in the healthcare system and helping people with disabilities and chronic illnesses ultimately live hopefully better lives is just my passion and my purpose. And if she never welcomed that opportunity to me, I don't know if I ever would have learned about those types of spaces that I can be in.
The first step is always the hardest. It's amazing to see how it creates a ripple effect in your life. I must say your story is a testament of power of taking that leap. It's just amazing. Sure. What's one powerful lesson you've learned about self-worth, and how do you carry it with you as you continue to grow and inspire others?
Well, I've learned just not to care what people think. I think that can really be a massive cup filler if you don't care about others think, but that is totally easier than I think another huge thing is investing time in self-care, investing time into yourself. And that I think when people think self-care, I think social media has painted a picture of very bougie, expensive. Like you can't do it unless you have a lot of time and a lot of financial, which obviously, if you're a mom or if you're a dad or if you are struggling financially, with so many people are these days, that can seem very far out of reach. But I think self care can be so tiny, like making sure you drink water or having a snack or washing your hair or doing little tiny things, which I totally understand. There is people in our world that don't have access to those things, which is so unfortunate. But even just saying something kind to yourself or saying something kind to someone else can be such a massive cup filler. And I think self care has really built up my self worth over time, which has been super powerful. And I totally recommend it to other people because we definitely should not be overlooking self care.
Yes, I love it. If you could tell your 17-year-old self one thing, what would it be and why?
It's crazy to think that that was 3 years ago. I feel old, like it's crazy being in your 20s. It's like your first lift off into adulthood. But 3 years ago, I was 17, and my life definitely looked a lot different for how not that short ago it was. Because obviously, I was still in high school. I still had the same job I have now, but I was a cheerleader, and that was my bread and butter. I did cheerleading every single day, and now I've moved on from that life. But I definitely miss it, but I loved it. But a big thing for my 17-year-old self is definitely to buckle up. It's going to be a roller coaster ride for sure. The next 3 years of learning how to be an adult are going to be full of magic moments, but tricky moments. And I think that's something that a lot of people that are navigating the transition from being a kiddo to being an adult can relate to because there's so many parts of it that you're not told about when you're in high school and your parents don't teach you about. It's such a learning journey to just find out where you fit in society and how you're going to make your life work.
That's such a beautiful message. I'm sure your 17-year-old self would be so proud of you about the woman you've
I
become.
hope.
Wow. How do you set boundaries to protect your energy and peace, and what have you learned from this practice?
That's been a definite hard one for me. I am a 10 out of 10 people pleaser. So trying to figure out how to set boundaries that work for my life but also don't totally throw down someone else's party has been super, super challenging for me in my life. And I also have a lot of guilt with boundaries, which is something I'm very much trying to let go of. And it's something I've really worked on this year was only taking on opportunities or things that really make me super happy and excited. And that really give me benefits in my life. I think that's been super crucial and important for me in my journey. It's just really prioritizing and remembering that you cannot pour from an empty cup and being very strategic about the activities and opportunities that I take on in the scheme of a month.
Boundaries are such an act of self-love. The way you've embraced them is inspiring, really. It's just a reminder to all of us that protecting our peace is essential. Um,
Absolutely.
just essential. So how do you stay grounded when challenges comes up now compared to before?
Um, I definitely am still not perfect at it at all. I still struggle with so many mental health challenges, trauma, and like behaviors and things that I'm absolutely not proud of and things that are difficult that I struggle in my day-to-day life. But that is the reality when you're navigating a mental illness, when you're navigating um trying to reverse things that you learned growing up that you now know being someone that's taking psychology courses, those things are not okay. But trying to relearn that is so hard and it's not easy, and it's something that I still struggle with a lot of those behaviors and a lot of those tendencies in my life now, which is something I'm very much trying to erase through working with counselors and working with my partner, trying to overcome that, but it's still something I've definitely not overcome. But life is unlimited. I still have time to get through it. But a big thing for me right now is just trying to focus on the positivity in life, positive distractions, making plans for the future. Vision boards have been such an easy, simple way for me to feel empowered. Um, I just sticking collages. I've done it with the kids I work with as well. They really enjoy it. It's such a cup filler activity. So yeah, just those simple self-care, self-love ways to just help me stay grounded and focused while dealing with the chaos that is still very much in my brain that I'm learning to navigate. But even just being able to wake up in the morning and survive my days with all of that chaos, I think is a badge of honor that I am beyond grateful to have because it's not an easy thing. And I want to be gentle with myself as I navigate the craziness is.
That's such a valuable perspective. It is really so empowering to hear that you've built some tools to stay steady, even in difficult moments. You have these tools, so that's really very empowering. Sorry. How do
Thank
you
you.
how do you define thriving today, and what mindset shifts or practices help you embrace that definition?
To me, thriving in life would mean that you feel it's not just surviving, which I think a lot of my days right now are survival, which I think post-secondary really can heighten that experience because it's not an easy place to exist. But for thriving in my life, my definition of that is feeling really good every day, but also when challenges come up, having the toolkit to really navigate and overcome them in a speedy or more grounded, focused way. I think that would be thriving, what thriving would look like in my life. And I am very much not there in a lot of aspects of my life, but I'm working on it. And the fact that I show up for myself and that I work on it, I think is such a win in itself.
Thriving looks different for everyone, and your take
Absolutely.
your take on it is so refreshing. It's a reminder that thriving isn't about perfection. It's about living fully and authentically.
Absolutely.
Showing up as yourself and embracing all your flaws and just shine through everything. Um, Jenna, the last question. What made you decide to be featured on Speak Up Queen, and how does it feel knowing that there's a safe space for women to share their stories and inspire others?
It's really meaningful to me to be on this podcast, and a big reason I decided is because the title of it just spoke to me. I really feel like, as someone that's competed in pageants and in the cheerleading world, the word queen is obviously super meaningful to me. Being a queen means being empowered and inspired and having your own reign of your life, which is something that really spoke to me. And also, just I think being a voice for younger girls out there or women who are at the same path as me or that have overcome the things that I'm overcoming. I think I just want to be a raw, relatable voice. I think way too many people, especially young people, try to hide these parts of themselves when I just don't want to do that. I want to be open about it because there is millions of people probably out there that really want to hear that relatable story. And I know when I was in the deep trenches and hiding my stuff, I definitely would have loved to hear something like this. I think it would have been very moving for me. And also just I find a lot of healing in sharing my story on platforms like this. I think it just really helps me feel very good about myself and that think that I'm making an impact in the world, and also just letting go of some thoughts that I previously had and just putting them out into the international waters, which I'm hoping that people around the world can see it and resonate with it. And that's super important to me. And I think a big purpose in my life. And I love that spaces like this exist. I think what you're doing is wonderful. And I think there definitely needs to be more spaces for women to just connect, especially with all of the craziness that is going on in our world right now. I think there needs to be more connection, especially among girls and women, because it's rough right now. We've gone backwards in a lot of ways in different countries and different policies. And just having spaces to connect and talk about the things that resonate with us, I think is super important.
Thank you so much for being here and trusting that this space with your story. It's women like you make this podcast what it is, an empowering platform for all of us. Again, just thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey with us today. Your story is a testament to the strength, resilience, and courage it takes to not only heal but thrive. So, to everyone listening, remember that your voice matters, your story matters, and together we can inspire change. So if today's episode touched your heart, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear this today. So until next time, Queens, have a good day.